Yeah, guys, good morning. So, my name is Chandu. I have a total 14 years of experience as a DevOps engineer in real time, and I do have training experience from last 7 to 8 years. So, are you able to see my screen now or not? Guys, are you able to
Yes,
see
we
my
can.
screen?
Yes, we
Yeah, yeah.
can.
Please mute yourself if you are not talking anything. Yeah. First, let's see what is the use of the DevOps and why we need to go for DevOps. In which scenarios the DevOps is helpful in real time. Okay, first we need to have some basic understanding why we need to learn the DevOps. Why not other technologies like Java, .NET developer, backend developer, SAP, right? First, understand what is the role of the DevOps engineer in real time. In which scenarios it is helpful for clients. Okay, first let's see. Suppose I am starting a project called Redbus or IRCTC or Facebook or Access Bank. Suppose let us assume that I am starting my new bank. Suppose my bank. I'm going to start one bank. So it should have one website and it should have one mobile application for it. Here two ways. The organization is going to be split in two ways. One is product based company, second one is client based organizations. Product based is nothing but we are going to create a product. Suppose for my bank, I am going to create one portal that I am going to sell to the customers like SBI, to Axis Bank, to Citibank, to Union Bank, to HDFC, to Kotak Mahindra. Okay, you have created your own product and you are selling to the customers. That organization you are going to call it as a product based organization. Second one is suppose let's take TCS or IBM or Capgemini like that. What they will do is people come to the organization and ask for the application whatever they require. Suppose let us assume that Citibank is there, or SBI, or Standard Chartered Bank. They come to TCS and they gave some requirements. They asked to implement the web application or else mobile application. That organization we're going to call it as a client-based organization. Two things are there. One is product-based and the second one is a client-based. Client-based is nothing but you are going to give the application as per the requirement of the client. Product-based is nothing but you only creating and you are showcasing what you have and a slight customizations if customer is needed you are doing and you are selling to the customers. Okay, suppose I'm starting a product called my bank. In order to implement this application I need to have a developers. What is the role of the developers in software industry? They will write the source code of an application, right? They will write the source code for an application called my bank. This is the responsibility of the developers. Source code is nothing but in which language they are going to write down. Either it could be Java or .NET or Perl, Python, PHP, anything. We are not going to bother about it. But developers' responsibility is just to write down the source code for an application. After writing the source code for an application, let us assume that you have a two developers. You have developer one and you have developer two. These two developers are going to write down the source code for an application. Suppose let us assume that this guy has created some 10 files and this guy has created some 5 files by the end of the day. Keep in mind that the application can't be completed in one day. That you also know. It will take a lot of time in order to complete this my bank application. There are so many features, so many enhancements. All right. So developer one is going to write down some 10 files. Developer two is going to write down some 5 files at the end of the day. After writing the source code, what they need to do? What is the next step? You have write down the source code for application. After that, we need to test it. That's the reason we are going to have a testers in the office. They are going to test the functionality of an application. Test the functionality of an application. Keep in mind that testers are not going to test the source code of an application. They are going to test the functionality of an application. What is the difference between both? Testers are not going to test the Java code because they don't know Java. They don't know .NET. They don't know Python. If they know the languages, they are also going to become developers. What is meant by functionality? They are going to test the functionality of an application. What is meant by functionality? Suppose let us assume that we all have Facebook accounts and Insta accounts. How they are going to test is that without giving username and password, they will click on sign in. It should throw an error stating that please enter username, please enter password. That is the expected one. That I'm going to call it as one scenario. Second scenario, I will give correct username. I will not give the password. Still, I will try to log into the Facebook account. At that time, it should throw an error stating that please enter the password. That is one scenario. Next, I will give the password, but it is a wrong password. When I click on sign in, it should throw an error stating that it is a wrong password. Earlier, please enter password. This time, please enter correct password. These are all the scenarios. These kind of scenarios are going to be tested by the testers, because whatever the customer is going to perform on that application, they will try to do in our organization, and then if everything is goes fine, then only we will deliver to the customers. Keep in mind that end user, customer, client, all are same names. Okay. So developers responsibility, write down the source code. Testers responsibility, test the function on application. Suppose let us assume that at the end of the day, developer one has created some 10 files, developer two has created some 5 files. How will you give these files to the testers? In order to test the function on application, they need these files, but how they should give to the tester? Any idea? Just use common sense and let me know, no problem. Even though if the answer is wrong, that's fine because you didn't learn DevOps so far. How to give these 15 files to the testing team? Is it okay to send through email, or else is it okay to upload in some Google Drive and then give the access to the testing team stating that boss download the files from here? Or else is
Maybe
it
on a
okay to keep it
company
in some,
restricted SharePoint.
yeah, might be they are going to have some shared location like this. Suppose like data, TCS, my app, my bank, bash files like this, we are going to have some shared location. This is going to be created by the network team, no need to worry. Okay, so everybody in the organization can access this location. So you can ask one thing, developer stating that boss upload the files into this location, so the testers can take the files and they can do the rest of activity. But here you have one disadvantage. You can follow this approach, but here have a disadvantage. What is the disadvantage? Suppose developer 1 placed 10 files, developer 2 placed 5 files. If it is first day, you are also in a position to remember that developer 1 is placing 10, developer 2 is placing 5. Think in large way. Suppose if I have a developers of 150 people and they are working for 6 months. After 6 months, are you in a position who placed the files? Which file he placed in the shared location? At what time? Which content he modified? On which day he modified? Are you in a position to identify those things? After 6 months, 150 developers every day they are continuously keeping the files in the shared location. After 6 months, you want to know who modified the file, which content he modified, for which purpose he modified. You don't have answers for those questions because you don't have a proper track of it. Who is uploading, which content modifying, which file is deleting. Suppose let us assume that everybody have an access. That means all developers have an access. They try to delete some files. After 6 months, you want to know who deleted file, for which purpose he deleted, how many files he deleted on that particular day. You are not in a position to get the answers for those questions. So in order to eliminate these disadvantages, we do have a tools in market, that is version control tool. That is version control tool, or else you can call this as SCM tool, source code management tool. Source code management tool. The name itself it is indicating it is going to manage the source code. Source code management tool you are going to call that is SCM tool, or else we are going to call it as a version control tool. Just a second, guys. Okay. Here the name itself it is indicating that version control tool, or else we are going to call it as a SCM tool, or else we are going to call it as a source code management tool. Source code management tool. The name itself, it is indicating that it is going to manage the source code. What are the tools are available in the market? Any idea? CVS, SVN, Git, ClearCase, PVCS, like this, TFS, like this, who have 25 plus version control tools are available in the market. How many? 25 plus version control tools are available in the market. But the next question is, out of 25, which one we need to use? Can you tell me which one is most popular nowadays?
Git.
Git. Okay. So the popular tool is Git. Can you mute yourself, please? Yeah. Git is the most popular tool because it has some advantages compared to other version control tools that we are going to learn in the classes. Obviously, we are going to learn Git. Then see here, Git is a version control tool. Who is going to maintain? Who is the owner? Who is the admin for this one? Who is the admin for Git? DevOps engineer. Because if you ask this guy developer, he's saying that no boss, I don't have time. I need to invest my time in only in writing the source code. If you ask tester, no boss, I need to test the functionality of application. Then who will take care of that activity? Who will install the Git? Who will do the activities of the Git? DevOps engineer will take care of it. That's the reason we have a person. That person belongs to DevOps group. DevOps engineer is going to maintain this version control tool. DevOps engineer is going to maintain the version control tool. We are the admins for the version control tool. We will give the access to the developers. They will start uploading the files into the Git. In the Git, you have a proper track like who uploaded a file, how many files uploaded, which content he modified in the existing file, which content he deleted in the existing file, what files he deleted, for which purpose he deleted. Everything we will have a proper track if you go with the Git. That's the reason companies are going to have the version control tool, or else we're going to call it a source code management tool. The next question is where we need to install this Git. Where we need to install this Git. Any idea? Is it in developer mission or a tester mission or else a DevOps engineer mission, or else we will take a separate common server which was purely dedicated for a Git. In real time from AWS or else from the organization itself, we are going to take one server. This server was purely dedicated for a Git. That's the reason we are going to call it as a Git server, and mostly it will be a Linux server. Mostly it will be a Linux server. In our classes also, we will take one Linux server and we will do the installation of the Git, and we will see the operations, how to upload the file, how to download the files, how to delete the files, and what are other topics are involved in the Git. That we are going to see in detail in the regular class. So in the Git server, we are going to have a proper track of all the files. Here we are going to create a repository, the name called my bank. Here they are going to keep the files. Okay, suppose let us assume that they are going to keep the files called src, web, some dot property file, some html file. That way they are going to create some folder structure and they will create one repository in the Git server. Okay, next let us assume that developers has uploaded these 15 files into the Git. After that, they uploaded the files in the Git. Let us assume that in my bank, how many files you have now? 15 files. After that, how testing team is going to take those files? Here, DevOps engineer has some activity here. DevOps engineer, what he need to do is, as a DevOps engineer, we are in the middle of a developer and a tester. As a DevOps engineer, what you need to do? You need to download files from Git. So how many files you will get? 15 files you will get. But how will you share to the customer? How will you share to the testing team? Here you will get 15 files. How will you share these files to the testing team? Either you need to create some var file or some tar file or some .exe file or some zip file based on the company. You don't need to worry. You know you are not the person to decide what is the extension. Our business analyst or a product owner, they are going to give this kind of information to us, stating that boss go and create a var file or else create a tar file or else create a .zip file like that. Okay, you don't need to decide it. But as a DevOps engineer, you are doing some activities. You are downloading the files from Git and you are creating var file. In between, you need to do one more thing. You need to compile the Java file. Otherwise, how can you ensure that all the Java files are compiled properly? Okay, that's the reason we need to do the compilation. So let us assume that today evening at 6:30, developers while leaving the office, they are going to drop an email to the DevOps team. Or else they will write some Jira ticket. Jira is a bug tracking tool. There we do have some proper tickets like that. Okay. So whenever they drop an email to the DevOps engineer, as a DevOps engineer, you are going to download the files, you are going to compile it, and you are going to create a var file, and then you will do the deployment in a Tomcat, or else WebLogic, or else Oracle, or else WebSphere, like that. Any application server where we are going to do the deployment, and then you will inform to the testing team stating that boss, we did the deployment. Just open the URL in a browser. That's it. Okay. Here you are only building it. You are only doing the deployment. After that, you are just sharing the URL called www.facebook.com. But in our case, we will pass the IP address of the server colon port number of that application. That's it. They can start testing of it. Who is doing this all activities? Building and then deployment. Who is doing this activity? DevOps engineers need to take care of build and deployment. What all activities you need to take care? Build and deployment. But one more question: in which server he need to download the file, compile it, where file it? Shall I do it in my DevOps engineer laptop? When I joined in a company, they will give laptop to. Can you do in your mission? No. You need a separate dedicated server that was purely for build. Okay. Here we are going to take one more server. That server was purely for building the server, building the application. That's the reason I'm going to call this as a build server. Okay. And then for deployment, you are going to have one more server, that is deployment server. This I'm going to call it as deployment server. As a DevOps engineer, here you are downloading the file. After that, you are compiling it. After that, you are creating a var file. And then you are deploying in a Tomcat. As dot var file, you are keeping it here. See, so far you are maintaining three servers. One is for Git, one is for build, one is for deployment. These three servers we will take from AWS, or else from Azure, or else from on-premisized environment. On-premisized environment is nothing but our company itself. They are going to maintain these servers. Okay, so you are building here and you are doing the deployment here. Every day 6:30 you are getting the build request from the DevOps from the Dev team. You are logging into this build server and you are downloading manually, you are compiling it, you are creating var and you are putting it here. But this is a manual procedure every day. Downloading a file, compiling it, creating a var file. Instead of that one, we do have a tool to do that activity. That tool I'm going to call it as a build tool. What are the build tools are available in the market? And Maven. And then Maven. If you go with the Maven, you are going to write down one file that is called pom.xml file. Inside you are going to have the script. Pom.xml file, you are going to have the script for downloading the file, for compiling the files, for creating a var file. Whenever you got a build request from the Dev team, you are simply logging into the build server and you are just calling the pom.xml file. And you are sitting idle for 10 to 15 minutes in order to complete it, in order to download, in order to compile, and in order to create a var file. You are just simply sit idle. After that, it will give you a var file that you go and do the deployment in a deployment server. But every day you are getting the build request at 9:30 instead of 6:30. Developers are still uploading the files into the Git, and while leaving the office by 9:30 or 10 o'clock, they are sending the build request to you. So you are staying in the office just to go and call pom.xml file, and you are waiting for 1 hour or 2 hour or 3 hour. That depends on your application, how much big it is. And you will get a var file and you will do the deployment in a deployment server and you are leaving the office. In this scenario, can you ask the developer straight that boss, don't send the build request at 9:30, please send at 6:30? Is it a good way to ask developers? No. We should not restrict them. We should not restrict them when they need to send the request to us. because most probably they need to complete by 6:30 itself, but unfortunately it was extended to 9:30 because of workload. So you can't restrict them stating that boss send at 6:30, don't send at 9:30. No, we can't ask like that. Then in this scenario, you are just sitting in the office just to go and call permanent XML file, and you are still waiting for it to do the activity, and at the end of the script it will give a var file, and you will deploy that var file in the top deployment server, and you will put an email to the testing team stating that deployment is completed, this is the URL, go and test it, and you are leaving the office. So in real time, it is not practical to sit in the office daily at 9:30 or 10:30 or 11:30 or 1:30. No, right? In order to eliminate this approach again, in order to go and call your permitted XML file, at the end, again, it should go and do the deployment in a deployment server, and it should drop an email to the testing team. In order to take care of these activities, we have one more tool that is called Jenkins. That is called Jenkins. Instead of you do it, let's have Jenkins installation and inform to the Jenkins. Put some time in the Jenkins. Schedule it like early morning 2 o'clock. Go and start the build. Early morning go and start call permanent XML file. By 9:30, 10:30 or 11:30 people are start uploading the files into the Git. So you are going to set the time at 2:30 a.m. By the time it will download the file, it will compile it, and it will create a bar file, because it will go and call the permanent XML file. It will take care of all these three activities. It will take care of this permanent XML file. And Jenkins only will do the deployment in a deployment server. Jenkins only will send the email to the testing team stating that boss deployment is completed successfully. This is the URL. Just go and test it. Next day morning by 9:30, testing team when comes to the office, they simply open the URL and they will start testing of an application. Instead of you calling permanent XML file, you are informing to the Jenkins. Like this, Jenkins is going to do so many activities that we are going to see one by one in real time. What all activities can be done by using Jenkins. For classroom purpose, I am just taking one example and I am moving on. But in real time, we can do lot many activities by using Jenkins. And Jenkins is just a just a continuous integration tool. Keep in mind that when the developer, whenever whoever is creating this Jenkins for us, the organizations have different opinions, have different needs, some different features in the Jenkins. At the time, what they will try to do is they will try to provide each and everything at the most. If not possible, we need to write down some script called Python or Epal, and we can modify the existing features of the Jenkins. Suppose let us assume that Jenkins is trying to do the deployment, but deployment server is not available. It was shut down unfortunately. Who is going to test it? You are not in the office by 2:30, right? Jenkins is triggering the build, creating a wirefile, doing the deployment. When I tries to do the deployment in a deployment server is not available. It was shut down unfortunately, but nobody observed that one. So by morning 9:30, when the testers came to the office, they don't have a URL. They will simply send the email to the DevOps team stating that boss, why yesterday build was not triggered. When you go on debug, at the time you identify that deployment server is went to offline. Unfortunately, we didn't check. Then your product owner and product manager start questioning you. Why you didn't observe? Why you didn't monitor? Like that, they are going to ask. In that scenario, what I can do is I can write some sample Python code here in order to test before do the deployment. Maybe I'm going to have one Python script and I will call this Python script every day morning at 6 o'clock or else evening at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. And then I will have one email notification. So our Jenkins will go and call our Python script. Our Python script is going to check whether the deployment server is active or not. That's it. So by evening every day, if I am getting the message or notification from the Jenkins, email notification, Jenkins is up or sorry, this deployment server is up or not. Suppose let us assume that if I got a notification that deployment server is not up, then by 4 itself, I can debug the issue so that testers are not going to be affected. That's the reason we need to have one scripting language. Keep in mind that it is not a standard way. Based on your requirement, based on your application, based on your customizations, you are going to use the script. Sometimes in some companies it may require also, it may require the scripting. Some companies it may not require the scripting also. It is not forced, but still good to have the scripting language here. So for Git is going to be maintained by the DevOps engineer, and build tool. This is the Maven. This we need to learn. And the next one is Tomcat. We need to learn. Sorry, Jenkins. We need to learn. And here this Tomcat we need to learn how to do the deployment and all. And then we need to learn here Python. Apart from this, we do have some containerization tools. Do have some containerization tools. What is the purpose of it? Why we need to learn the containerization tools? I will give you one best real-time example and then we'll close off the things. Let me show you what is the purpose of the containerization tools. Let us assume that I have prepared one product called Outlook. Outlook is just like is going to act as a Gmail, right? It is a similar kind of a stuff. I have prepared a Outlook product. I want to sell to the customers. Suppose I want to sell to TCS, I want to sell to IBM, Capgemini, CTS. When I go to them, they told that, boss, we are okay to use your product called Outlook, but we don't know how to do the installation of your Outlook. I don't know what all dependent softwares we required in the system. So you come to the office and you install it. But if I go to TCS or IBM, they might have large number of employees. Is it possible for me to go to each and every employee laptop to do the installation and to set up this Outlook? And in order to run this Outlook, they may require some dependent softwares. Clear? So, very difficult for me to go there and to do the setup of Outlook. Dependent softwares and Outlook, it is not at all possible for me. And that too, I need to invest my time to prepare Outlook 2.0. Next, again, I want to give Outlook 3.0 because I'm going to identify some issues and I'm going to rectify it and I'm going to release the new versions in the coming days. I need to invest my time here. I should not go to their office and do the installation of the things and everything. Let us assume that in order to work this Outlook, they might require one OS. They might require Java. They might require Tomcat. Like this, they might require some third-party tools. After that, they need to deploy this Outlook. Then only it will work on it. So I can't go to the office and to do this all the things. First, I need to install OS, Java, Tomcat, third-party tools. After that, application like Outlook deployment. Not possible for me. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one Docker file. What I'm going to do? I'm going to create one Docker file. I will put all my instructions. OS installation, Java installation, third-party software installation, Outlook installation. I will put my all instructions in the Docker file. After that, I will create an image. Okay. After this, I'm going to build this one. When you build a Docker file, you will get a image. I'm going to put what all activities I want to perform at the customer laptop. Everything I'm going to put it in a Docker file and I'm going to build my Docker file so that I will get an image. And I will upload this image in a Docker Hub. This is a Docker Hub. Here I'm going to upload my image. Here I'm going to upload my image. Okay. So here we will have a Outlook image. Outlook image it has. Who prepared this all the things? This guy only. Whoever is implemented this Outlook, they only created one Docker file. In the Docker file they have mentioned what are the activities they want to perform at the target server. They mentioned everything in a Docker file and they build the Docker file. You got an image and they uploaded in a Docker Hub. This I'm going to call it as a Docker Hub, as simple as like a Google Drive. That's it. Docker Hub. And now what we need to do is we have a developers here. Whoever want to make use of the Outlook, I will drop an email stating that boss Outlook image was uploaded in a Docker Hub. Just go and make use of it. Now I'm going to download this image to my here. Everybody will try to download the image. They will have an image and then image they will run it so that container will be created. Okay. See how much easy to download a file, just run it, container will be created. When they have a container, that means that Outlook was already installed in their laptop because they already have all the instructions in the Docker file. Suppose if you compare this, when you want to install Skype in your laptop, you are just going to download one .exe and you are clicking on next, next, next. Skype is going to be installed in your laptop. And at the same time, in the background, in C program files x86, there will be one folder called Skype. Inside the Skype, we'll have some files. If you delete the Skype folder, will Skype work in your laptop? No. The same way here also. When you run an image, container will be created is nothing but it creates one folder in the target server. It consists of all the information about these all the things. And you can start accessing your application called Outlook. That's it, nothing more here. But in real time, we are going to see how to write down the Docker file, how to create an image, how to upload here, how to download, how to run it, how to create a container, how to check whether the container is up and running or not. Suppose if the container is not up, you can't access Outlook. If the container is up, you can access the application. How to have multiple containers in the same server, that we are going to deal with Kubernetes. Okay, these are all the things we are going to learn in the classes. Apart from this, we are going to learn one cloud technology, that is AWS. I will tell you one best example for AWS and then we'll close off the things. What is the use of a cloud? What is the use of cloud? Any idea? Any idea? What is meant by cloud first of all? Suppose let us assume that I'm running a small scale organization. Maybe I have some 150 employees. 150 employees. Okay, I have started a new product and for implementing this, I have 150 employees. Mine is a product. I don't have any investor. I don't have any project in my hand. That's the reason I started a new product because I want to sell at the end. So, in order to implement my product, I need some 20 Linux servers, 3 Windows servers, and 150 Windows servers for all my employees. Or as for database purpose, we need some 10 database servers we require. As I told you, I am implementing a product. I don't have a client. So initially I need to invest my whole money here for the infrastructure. I need to purchase all these things in order to install Linux and everything. I need to recruit one Linux server, one Linux admin. These are all the things I need to do. Instead of doing all those things, if I go and request AWS or Amazon or else Microsoft. Microsoft means Azure, AWS means Amazon. If I go and request Amazon, they are already maintaining so many servers in the cloud. They are already maintaining so many servers. If I request some servers, they will give and you can just go and make use of it on a rent basis. Just go and make use of this on the rent basis. This guy is already maintaining some servers. If you go and request, I need 23 and then 10. Total 33 servers are required. Simply put a request to Amazon, they will provide you 33 servers on a rent basis. Once you are done with your activity, you can give them, you can return them. Okay, you don't have any issue here. How it is going to be helpful in real time? Here your expenditure is going to be reduced, right? If you go on a rent basis, your expenditure is going to be reduced. And one more thing, security. And one more thing, suppose if you are maintaining in Hyderabad or in Bangalore, some earthquake was happened, you are going to lose all your data. You are going to lose all your servers and all. But if you ask Amazon, they are the responsible persons for all those servers. And keep in mind that they will maintain same kind of infrastructure maybe in another region also. Same kind of infrastructure they are going to maintain in another region, maybe in Australia, maybe in USA, maybe in Canada, maybe in UK, maybe in England, maybe in Switzerland. Like that, they will maintain it. Suppose if something has happened in this region, suppose in USA something was happened, still they have the data in the Australia, they will provide to you. They won't understand or not. You are not going to be worry about your servers, whether those are live or not, security wise, everything they will take care of it, and they will provide you server on a rent basis. Just make use of it and return them whenever it is not required. That is the purpose of Amazon Web Services or else Microsoft Azure. Okay, we'll see. So many topics are involved around this cloud technology, like how to take the server, how to launch the server, how to install the server. Suppose let us assume that I need a server along with the software. That also they will give it to you. Based on requirement, they will give. I need one server which consists of Git also. They will provide to you. I will ask like I need a server along with one database called Oracle. Amazon will directly give it to you. They will already by default have these kind of things. Otherwise, they will configure and they will give it to you. That's it. You don't need to worry. You don't need to take care of those activities. Okay. So as a DevOps engineer, we need to learn at least one cloud computing technology, because nowadays every company is trying to migrate from on-premises environment to a cloud environment because of these reasons. Suppose let us assume that I have a I have a Amazon website. During the sale period, obviously the load on the server is high. At that time, I want to increase the servers. Suppose you are increasing some 10 servers, but after 4 days, again the traffic will be as usual. No high traffic. Again, I need to decrease 3 servers. Instead of you do those activities, let's inform to AWS. Let's inform to Azure. They will take care of those activities, increasing the servers whenever it is required, decrease the servers whenever it is not required. Those kind of activities are going to be performed by the vendors like Amazon or Azure or Google Cloud or IBM if you go with Bluemix. Okay, they will take care of it. So these are all the things we are going to learn in classes, and we are going to see some real-time scenarios, and we'll see some projects, and I will explain you how to build your resume and everything. You can ask me any questions now.
And what about Terraform?
What about
Terraform.
Terraform? Not included as part of this course. That we need to learn in separate course. And I will tell you Ansible also. I forgot to mention that Ansible also I will cover in this class. I could become a DevOps engineer as I have a mechanical engineering background and no computer science or IT background. Yes, fine, Manish, no problem. Even if you don't know basics of computers, also you can learn the DevOps.
Hi. Actually, we got a PDF regarding this course, and in that, Terraform is also included. So, can you please check it once?
I will talk with them because Terraform is required more days. It should not be completed in 45 days.
Okay.
And that too,
And
without learning, without having some real-time experience, it is not possible to learn the Terraform also. We need some basic
regarding
understanding.
this
Maybe
Git
you,
and Docker, okay.
yeah,
Regarding this Git and Docker, so can you assist us in doing the labs?
yes,
I
yes, definitely.
mean, for real-time examples, or else if we
Yeah,
got any doubt while we
yeah, yeah.
practice
And that
ourselves.
too, we will give some assignments also in the classes, and next day we will take the screen share and we'll see how you are performing. If you have any issues also, we are going to resolve in the screen share also.
Okay, and there is a part called virtualization and networking, sir, in the PDF. So,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
does
that will
this explain?
that will cover in Docker. No need to worry. That will cover in
Is
Docker.
it regarding Docker or any other extra
No, no, no,
contribution?
no, 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 no. VMware concept is there. What is the disadvantage of VMware? How that is going to be resolved by using a Docker? That we'll see in class. Actualization.
And there is a column called security. So, regarding which thing is the security? Regarding these tools or basic
Tools on
security
AWS,
issues?
AWS server security.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? If not, you can communicate with them and they will let you know the timings when the batch is going to be start, and the timings all they will update to you shortly. Thank you, guys.
Sir,
Please
how
update your
for a
email ID
day?
and please
Okay,
update
sir.
your email ID and phone number in the charts, please, so that they will have a track of your numbers. Yeah, per day I will take only 1 hour because I don't want to take a load. If I give 1.5 hour or 2 hour session, you can't do any practice. So I will take only 1 hour per day.
Regarding scripting, like you said that you will be teaching Python scripting, right? You want the shell scripting
Python,
after that. Which one is
we
better?
will go with some Linux basics and we will tell Python only because shell nobody using nowadays. Most of the guys are using Python. But here, which kind of scripting you are using, nobody is bothered. Whether you are using a shell to monitor your server, Python or a Perl or any other scripting language, they are not going to be bothered about this thing. It is internal stuff only. Like in company, if you write a script in Python or a Perl or in a shell, they will not be worried. But nowadays, most of the people are using Python. That's the reason we are also going with Python. That's it.
So can you
For
teach YAML
DevOps,
language also?
Yeah, for DevOps engineer.
for DevOps engineer, like, do we need to learn Python fully or just kind
No,
of
no, not
basic
fully,
things? How
not fully. Just kind of a basic thing only. Just kind of a basic. And that too, it is not a guarantee that you are going to work on the Python script or not. It purely depends on how your application was designed in the organization.
So
Yeah, what is that,
will
Lila?
we get YAML scripting
Yes,
also, sir, in this course?
yes. In Ansible, I'm going to explain about ML scripting and all.
Okay, sir. Just basics is necessary, or do we have to go in depth with the scripting?
Not the basics. Most of the scenarios, what all real-time scenarios we have, those we are going to cover with ML scripting. Not the basics. We will go beyond basics in ML. Any other questions, guys? Shweta, Manish, Prashant, Padmini, Shivaram, Srikanth, Sujit. Okay, guys. You have any questions, you can check with them and they will let you know the timings and when the batch is going to be started. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.